I'm James Lott Jr., and this is the AfterBuzz show for Zoo.
You're tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Ooh.
Perfect song.
I saw them in concert in '89 when Axl went crazy. I loved it. Welcome. You're watching the premiere episode of the after show for Zoo, the premiere episode of that show, Zoo. And I'm James Lott Jr. I'm one of your hosts. I can't do it alone because I'd just be talking to myself and I look crazy. And I am here with
Jordana Morfin, and you can follow me at Jordana_Morfin on social media, anywhere. She's on all the interwebs. And you can follow me on Black Hope LA, and that's on Twitter. So you can just start there, of course. So welcome. Tonight was the premiere episode of Zoo. So what do you think overall? I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see what's going to happen because, like you saw, I was super confused at the end, but it was super exciting.
So I actually read the book. I'm not a big James Patterson fan, but my mom is, and she was like, and my mom's probably watching, hi mom, and she said, James is right up your alley. It's, nature attacking man, which I love those kind of movies, of course. And they said it's making it into a series. So I actually read the book, read it in 3 days. It was that gripping.
I'm reading it this weekend.
Read it. Anybody who's watching the show, read the book too. It's really good. And tonight was the first episode. I think it's 13.
I think so, yeah.
It's a nice little limited series for the summer. The summer mystery on CBS. Love it. And the first episode was called First Blood.
Mm-hmm. So it's when we saw first attacks.
Yes, we did. So we will go right in. And first of all, I just want to mention the lead actor, James Wolk. Mm-hmm. Great actor, isn't he?
I like him a lot. Well, we haven't seen him in a while. Like I said before, he was on You Again. You Again?
Yeah, You Again.
You Again,
yeah,
yes.
You Again movie. Yes.
And then, what else did you say?
I saw him on, they really hyped him on a show called Lone Star.
Oh, okay.
That didn't make it. And actually, it was pretty good. It was kind of like a Dallas-esque kind of soap. And it just, at nighttime, it just didn't make it. But he was in that. And he showed up in a bunch of different things. And I'm just waiting for him to become big. And
this is going to be his role, I think. Like, his big hit role.
I think so, too.
Like I said, in You Again, his role wasn't that big. It was just like, he's the brother, if you've seen that movie before. But I think this is going to be good for him. Yeah,
because you reminded me of that. I was like, oh, yeah, he was in that. It's that guy in that thing.
That guy in that
There's actually a great documentary that's called that. It's called that guy in that thing and that gal in that thing. They're great documentaries that you follow people who are in lots of things. You don't know who they are.
Well, here we go.
And here we go. So hopefully, James Wolk, you're going to be big. This is your role. So he plays Jackson Oz. What a name.
I know. It's perfect for him.
It is.
Or it's perfect for for what he does. Since he works. Oh, did we get the name of the safari place? I put because he had it on his hat.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if that was exactly it. It said Katuka.
I think so. If you're out there watching, you can please tweet us or underneath the YouTube page. Tell us what the name is. I think it was, and I thought I heard something about Simon's camp, or Simon was his friend. Or...
Right. So that was one of the camps. I'm assuming in the whole safari.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Jackson was maybe at a different camp.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing. We can't tell yet exactly.
What's happening. But they open at a camp, and they're in Africa. They're in Botswana. So this is where it all kind of takes place. Basically, it's Botswana and Los Angeles. So back and forth. But it starts out there with him, and it starts out with they show his dad, the great Ken Olin. I love Ken Olin. I loved him on 30-something. Of course, I'm aging myself. But 30-something, he was great in that. And he was in Brothers and Sisters. He's just a great actor and director and producer, actually. But he plays, I guess, his father. There's some history there.
Yeah, and he was a professor or a scientist.
Or something.
Both.
Yeah, both.
And we get a little... Well, he says that he's crazy.
Yes. Of course, they always do this in all these kind of science fiction mystery things.
The dad is crazy.
The dad's crazy. He'll know what he's talking about. Don't listen to him. Of course. He'll be right, of course. But he did all these tapes. And the one thing that we learn in the beginning is he talks about the defiant pupil.
Right.
Okay, folks, remember that, the defiant pupil. Remember that.
And that's when, really quick.
Yes.
What's the name of the kid again that we see?
Daniel.
Daniel. And Daniel's really into these videos,
Yes.
right?
Yes, he's
because
one of them.
he wants to be, I think, a scientist as well.
Yeah, or something like that, yeah.
So I feel like Daniel is going to have a big role in here because I feel like he's going to get a lot of the clues that the professor was saying, and he's going to understand it a lot more. But Jackson, when he heard defiant pupil, he thought of it as a student.
He went literal.
He was literally, my dad's crazy.
My dad's crazy, and pupil is in student. And as you'll find out in the series, pupil has several meanings. So we saw some trailers for the rest of the season. So yes, pupil has different meanings. So remember, defiant pupil. Just always remember that. But yeah, so Daniel and he has a best friend named Abe, who also helps run the camp. He's funny.
He's cool.
He's totally cool, and he's funny. And so they open up with the three of them. And so they go out to the safari, and I just think this is so funny. They scare these rhinos away from these poachers, and they play James Brown.
Right.
I was like, why don't you play like Miley Cyrus or something? That would make me run.
Well, I didn't even think that was going to happen. When he came out with the radio, I was like, oh, he's probably going to play something for the tourists.
Yeah.
And then he just starts blasting the music out for the rhinos.
Yes.
But that was really interesting.
Yeah.
We see that he's obviously, like, he cares for these animals a lot. And we see the poachers. I can't think of his name right now, but I've definitely seen him somewhere else.
Me too. The actor who plays the
have to
poacher.
look that up.
Who is he, guys? Who is
I'm
he?
going to look this. Yeah, I have to look this up because I know he's been in other big roles.
Yeah, he has. And so he plays the angry poacher, and they all piss on each other, so to speak. And who's whatever. Like, oh my God, I'll do it. So we know that he'll be back, obviously, because it's not over with him. Then they switch back to Los Angeles. And this is the part that in the book was very fun, was very like extra gory, but they did, it's a CBS, so at 9, so they didn't do this. But we find two guys, I guess they've been out drinking. Yeah,
and they're in an alleyway, and they have to go to the bathroom. They're doing their thing. And we hear something.
Yes.
Like a...
At
first, when I heard it, I didn't think it was a lion. I thought it was like a dog.
Yeah, no, me too.
Howling. Or not howling, but like growling at them.
Yeah.
And then we see him, and there's a lion inside a dumpster.
Yes. I mean, I would just crap in my pants.
I don't know what I would do. I would faint and just fall to the ground, to be quite honest. I don't know. You're drunk anyway, and you're just trying to pee because you have to go to the bathroom because you're just uncouth. You can't go to the bathroom inside a club, I guess. And there's a lion on top of you, basically. And so he attacks... No, he attacks him.
Yeah.
And the other guy's just kind of like, hey, still talking to himself pretty much. And then we see another lion come out. Yeah. And he attacks the second guy.
Yes.
And that's when we run into Jamie.
Yes.
Who is a news reporter. And she is... do you remember the name of the blog?
See, I don't... The blog is somewhat damaged by the girl with the genie tattoo.
Right. So we know Jamie is this girl with the genie tattoo.
Yeah, obviously, when they showed that, and she's a news reporter, of course, and you picked up on it because I wasn't sure where we were at, and you heard copy and you heard keywords. That was very smart of you. I'm not as smart sometimes, so I was like, oh, what's she doing? And so she's basically has a dual life.
Right.
So she's working with the newspaper to get the information to kind of take down these people.
Right.
But then she's also blogging about it, trying to take them down that way, too.
I found it really interesting.
Yeah.
But so we learned that the zoo... This is a little confusing for me.
Okay.
So the zoo started feeding these animals... a different kind of...
Yeah, suddenly they were feeding. They had a routine. They were feeding this food. The animals were docile, doing their due, whatever they're doing. And then suddenly they changed this food by company. And this is another name you need to remember if you watch the series, Rated Global.
Right. So Jamie thinks that it's the food that's pretty much making these animals act out.
Yeah, because they're made with pesticides or something, and they're just like bad food. So she's thinking it's the food, they're evil anyway, and she wants to take them down just because of that, because the animals are now... Because the zoo, apparently, the lions started escaping.
Right.
And that's how those lions got out.
Or they killed the animal trainer.
Oh, yeah, that's
what happened.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing, too,
So they killed the animal trainer, and then they got out. So they were saying that the animal trainer has been with these lions since they were baby cubs, and they've never acted out towards towards the animal trainer
Right.
in any way. So we obviously, that's how she knows there's something going on. There's
Right,
something a little
exactly.
bit fishy going on.
And but at this point, though, of course, it's the story of she gets confronted by her boss.
Yep. Well,
Of course, because she's trying to do some social justice.
and we see Ethan.
Yes, Ethan.
So Ethan also works there, and
Yes.
Ethan is on the boss's side, or acts like like he's on the boss's side, you know. And they're pretty much just calling her out.
Yes.
They're like, you know, Jamie, we know it's you. You're the genie with the tattoo.
Yes.
Like, what is this? What are you doing? This is like not supposed to happen.
Yes.
And then after we see Ethan.
Yes. Well, apparently Ethan and Jimmy have been doing it.
Yeah, but apparently, well, more than that.
Well,
I guess they have like a relationship
They have a
going
relationship going on. He actually is part of the blog somehow. We don't
Yeah.
know fully. And he's all trying to play both sides.
And later we find out he wants to go on vacation with her.
Yeah, no,
obviously.
that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to mention in this scene, it's two other great actors that I love. I don't know who's playing Jamie at this point. And I like her so far. She's very strong, and the actress is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But Reed Scott, who plays Ethan, I watch Veep, and I just think
okay.
he's so hilarious. I love Veep so much. And he's been in other stuff too. And then Tamara Tooney, who plays her boss,
Mm-hmm.
who's on Law and Order and As the World Turns. He's been around for a long time. So it's like, oh, I got some really good actors
Yeah.
in this little series. So I like that. And so we're at that point. So we find out that Ethan and Jamie are having this relationship on the side,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously Brenda, the boss, doesn't know, and that's going on. Then we cut back to Africa again.
Right. And we see Jackson and Abe.
They're
flying right
Yes.
back. So this is when we see them flying to Simon's camp.
That's what it must be. It okay, that must be it. Okay, yeah.
So they're flying to Simon's camp, and that's when Abe's like, you know, we haven't heard from Simon in like 2 days.
Right.
The connection hasn't been or something. So there's probably something going on.
Yeah.
So that's when, I mean, we know that obviously there is something going on.
Right, and they mentioned the father. This is where we learn actually.
About the yeah,
because
the
this show is letting us know little bits and pieces of backstory, which is kind of good. They're letting little by little, letting us know what's going on, and so we kind of gather. I don't know how you felt about it. I think he killed himself. He went crazy.
I think that's what we got from it.
Yeah,
I forgot
so too.
exactly what he said, but the way something that Jackson said pretty much told that his father had killed.
Because I think it was because Abe was saying how animals behave.
Oh, right.
And I think that's what it was. That's what it was. And he was saying how animals don't kill themselves.
And that's why he's like, because they're not like humans.
Yes. And so they was like, oh. He kind of went down like, oh, that's right. And they're like, ooh, so did Dad go a little crazy and then kill himself? Or did he get eaten by a lion? I mean, who knows what's going on there. But yeah, so we kind of get that. They get to the lodge.
Okay. I've always wanted to go on a safari, and this just made me not want to do this anymore. Okay. We see a safari, a camp, like a lodge, and it's all deserted, and it just looks creepy and does not look like anything I'd want to do ever. Yeah. But they're walking around, and they think that all the people went out on like the trip or the safari.
Because everything looks normal. Like there's food on the table, but
it's just deserted. Yeah. So we see that, and then they're like, "Oh, well, the cooks should be here because they never leave."
Right.
Well, once they see that the cooks aren't there, we know we have a problem.
Yes. And they're walking around, they're looking, everything looks kind of normal. They get into the other rooms. Yeah, the lodge didn't look that appealing to me.
No, it didn't.
Looks very hot.
It looks,
and I'm already hot enough here in LA these days with all this humidity. I'm like, ugh, I didn't want to go to Africa right now in that picture. But yeah, so they're there walking around, then they find a camera.
And it's of the people who are in the camp.
Yes. It's classic science fiction, mystery, kind of horror thing where they find a camera, but the footage is grainy, it's cutting in and out.
And people are going crazy,
screaming. You hear something off camera because he couldn't go there. Well, first I start with this guy, this white guy who's like super sunburned. And he's trying to hit some. He's like, yeah, we're really sunburned, and we got these two chicks over here.
Right. In the video. I was like, what are you talking about?
Sorry, in the video. Not in the video.
So the guy in the video.
Yeah, so it's like, that's kind of funny to put that in. This show actually has humor in it. It's kind of funny. We'll talk more about the humor. We keep sprinkling it in there.
I think just because I like how they throw that in there because it needs some humor. After you see things going on, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, exactly. With all between the gore and all the scariness. But anyway, so they find the footage, and so they deduce that something happened at the camp, obviously. And so then they look outside, and they find lion doo-doo.
Yes, they do, by the camp. And the footprints in it.
Footprints. So you see, like, oh, it was more than one set of footprints. Because he mentioned, see, in this show, actually, you will learn stuff. I've learned a bunch of things I'm going to share with you guys tonight. I learned a bunch of stuff tonight that I did not know.
It's like Animal Planet.
It is. It's like Nat Geo. I had no idea I was going to learn. I thought I was going to watch TV.
No, yeah, we learned a lot.
We did. And one thing
about lions, yeah.
About lions. And the thing is, like, saying that usually when people, like, they pillage and a village or whatever, they come in and they leave in behind each other in one track. So you can't tell how many people came into the village, I guess. Yeah. But you saw these footprints. They were multiple prints. So like something's going on here. And I was like, why did I do that for?
It's not normal.
It's not normal. And then they go back. Let's see. And then they go back to L.A. again.
So we keep going back and forth. That's
that's basically all it. Yeah, that's all it does. It goes back and forth, and it's back to Jamie.
Yes.
And so it opens up with what? On her left shoulder? It was her left shoulder? A genie tattoo.
Yeah,
was it
her
left
tattoo.
or right?
Yeah, in her apartment.
So the confirmation is she is the girl with the genie tattoo. First of all, why do you think of that first of all? Genie tattoo? I mean, that's kind of crazy.
I don't know.
A genie.
I thought it was, well, when I saw it on her back, I thought it was something else. I didn't even think
it was a genie. It didn't look like
a
genie either. I'm trying to think what the meaning of a genie would be. Like, what does that mean in her life?
Her life.
So
I feel like there will be something. Yeah. We'll find something out.
Yeah, because that's kind of because of Genie. And then Ethan, of course, shows up.
Yeah.
Of course.
And that's when we find out that they're actually, you know,
together. I mean, they are together. I guess they're having an affair, but not really having an affair because they're not with people. They're just that they work together.
Having an affair with their job.
Yeah, because they work together.
Yeah.
And they have an affair. And that she's mad at him, of course, because you didn't back me up. And he's like, well, I'm trying to, do both things. And I told you the blog was a bad idea.
Something I like about Jamie is I think she even said it right. She's kind of new in the industry, like in the news industry. She's young. Yeah. So she's thriving to get a lot of information. She's, you know, we can tell obviously because she has her other blog where she has other information. But when she's in there talking to Ethan, so focused on the TV, watching the news, and she's just kind of like, "Hey, Ethan,
whatever, okay, whatever, sir."
Yeah, you messed things up with me, but she was so focused. So we know that she's really interested in this, in discovering the story, about what's going on
which is what we need, of course, because any kind of story like this, you need that one doggedly person who's going to who wants to go after the truth,
right?
Even over the top, but they want the truth.
So I feel like we're gonna like her a lot, just because I feel like she's gonna find out a lot of information. And
I like her so far.
Yeah, I like her too. She seems interesting, like an interesting character.
And then she has the balls, I will say it, to go to the zookeeper's house. He's at a party. He's all hanging out, which is kind of funny actually, because you just had some people die at your zoo, and you're having a barbecue. Right.
So that's what we're saying, right? He is the owner of the zoo. I think he is, That's what we assume.
Because we're assuming that. I think if anybody out there knows, but we assume that's what it is, and that he's accepting the bad meat. Well, he doesn't think it's bad, but he's accepting the meat.
Probably because it's cheaper for him. Yeah. And I think he's the new zoo owner because Jamie's like, ever since you took control, 3 people have already died. So he probably doesn't know anything about this business. No. So he's new to it, and things are going downhill for him already.
Yes, and she confronts him. But then it's revealed later they're in Brentwood. So those of you who don't live in Los Angeles, it's a nicer part of northern Los Angeles. Yeah. And that he reveals that the cats are missing.
Yes, because his daughter's... We see his daughter crying in the corner, and he's like, well, her cat's been missing. Yeah. And so... did he say that a bunch of cats have been missing? Yeah,
because the cats are showing. He said the cats are disappearing. That's the word he used. Okay. That's the word he used. They're disappearing. Now, I got to tell a quick story. So, my sister had a cat named Mikey. And Mikey lived with us for 100 years or whatever. Then one day he left. 2 years later, and I am not kidding you, 2 years later, we ordered a pizza. And Mikey just walked right in.
Cats are very...
2 years later, though, he walked in like, hi, everybody, I'm home. We're like,
it's like Homeward Bound.
Yes. It's like, okay, Mikey, he looked healthy, like he'd been eating or whatever. I'm like, where'd you go for 2 years? And then Nessie just talks about in the story, they talk about how animals usually the cats go back to their food source.
For food source.
So it's like, so they usually don't just wander. They wander, but they always come back, which is true. It's kind of true. And I was like, but Mikey was gone for 2 years, and he came back.
Cats are very interesting. I don't like cats. I do not like cats, but they're very smart. And,
she's all for cat rights. Don't get mad at her. She's all fine. She's all for that. It's fine. She's just personally, she's not into the cat species.
You're right. I would never have a cat.
I like cats. I don't have any more, but I like them. So we find the cats are missing in Brentwood.
Yeah.
Poor folks in Brentwood. And actually, I feel bad for the cats because we like them. And then after that, they're back in Africa. And we're back with Abe and Jackson. And they're actually out now just figuring out what's going on. Because there's nobody at the lodge, obviously. So now they're out in the safari. I guess what we decided was? Safari, marshland. Whatever you looked it up, savannah.
Oh, savannah. They're like driving through the savannah. And then they see an abandoned car. And they're like, that is Simon's car. And they start freaking out.
Yes.
Right when that happens, it's like... obviously something bad is going to happen. Why are you going to get out of a car?
Yeah.
But of course, there we go. Here we go. We see Jackson and Abe get out of the car.
And the music. Okay, I have to say, the music is good. When it comes to these certain parts, they get just like the low music, and it's like dun 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 dun.
Like intense.
It's intense. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared. So they so Abe decides to go on the vehicle. Yeah,
and he tells Jackson, stay back, watch out,
Right.
This part freaked me out, and I was really sad because even though we haven't really met, we met Abe, but we don't know him very well. I really like him.
Yeah, me too. I liked him too.
I really, really like him. And so we...
Meanwhile, they're in the savannah with these really high... the grass is high.
Yeah, it's really high.
I think all the grass is grass. It's really high.
Yeah.
So you can't see nothing.
Yeah.
So I was sitting we were watching it, just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Something's going to pop out.
It's going to pop out. But meanwhile, something does pop out, but by the vehicle.
Yeah, and that's...
But the lion.
The lion. Wait, doesn't Chloe pop out before the lion?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's the scary part. Yeah, that you say.
Because
that's right.
Jackson starts hearing these noises, and we're like, we're like, lion's gonna come out, and then we just see this blonde chick just pop out, and we're like, oh my God.
Right. Speaking French.
Yeah, speaking French.
Yes, going
crazy, and that's when we see the lion attack.
Right. You're right. That's right.
Yeah.
And then see so much going on in that scene. I was just like, oh my God. Yes, and then the lion shows up and goes into the vehicle.
Right, and that's when. Abe gets attacked, which is really sad because
it's funny. It's a testament to him, and I guess in his character, the actor. I liked him right away. I thought he's gonna be cool, and they were good kind of sidekick best friends, and they were. And he knew.
And even Jackson. Well, later on.
Yeah, he says
that he's like Abe wasn't my best friend, so that was really tough for him.
I know.
And we see like an emotional side of Jackson because when Chloe's like, hey, like. Let's leave. We have to go. And then he's like, I can't leave he's my best. Like, I can't leave him.
Right.
And you see him, he gets like teary-eyed. It's really...
It's like, it's one of those things like, like I always say, like in the Army and Armed Forces, you don't leave your man behind, and no man leaves behind. So he really didn't leave him behind. He really wanted to help him. And he couldn't do it. So it's kind of like, dang, that sucks. And so meanwhile, they're out there in a giant grassy field. And I'm like, and the music's going, and she's speaking French. They get back to the car.
And that's when we see 5
lions
attack, but they're running towards them.
Yes.
And they're all male lions.
Yes.
And that's something that we learn.
Again.
We learn.
That
is not normal for male, at least 1 or 2 male lions, that's fine, but 5 lions to be together like that or attack.
Lions. Yeah.
That's not normal.
They don't do that. So that's another thing I learned today. And so they get in the vehicle and they start attacking the vehicle.
Yeah.
I crap my pants.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I can't. Lions are scary. So they do that, and so they're trying to turn the car on.
And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work at first, of course. That's just that's how that works. Then they finally get it on, and so they start to take off. Here's the part that kind of made me laugh. I said there was some humor. So Chloe's freaking out, of course, and so she starts to explain her story.
Right.
You remember some of the story, or
so. Okay, so Chloe pretty much she was gonna get married.
Yes.
And her husband had an affair. So she's she's at the safari by herself because she couldn't cancel it.
Right.
So she comes on by herself. But she was telling Jackson how they were on the tour on the safari tour, and there was about like 15 tourists on the car.
Yeah.
And they were gonna go see some
gazelles.
So Simon's like, everyone get out, you guys can see it. And that's when she just started hearing people getting attacked. Or Simon gets attacked first.
Yeah, he gets attacked first. So she sees the lion, gets attacked, and then everybody's looking. She tried to save them. She couldn't. And it was just apparently a bloody scene.
Right. Well, imagine... Well, we can even see it. She's freaking out. Yeah. She can't even sit still. No. Imagine yourself in a situation like that. Yeah. I don't even know how she made it out alive. I wonder where she was hiding.
That was another thing, too. I was kind of like, okay, there's a kind of a WTF moment. Like, yeah, where did she go?
Because she came out of the grass.
Yes, out of the grass.
So she must have been like laying down in the grass or something because we don't know where she came from.
Because she wasn't on the boat. She wasn't on the car. Mm-hmm. So, like, where did she come from? But I guess we just suspend that to belief and just, she came out of nowhere. She survived. Somehow she laid low. And we'll say that. She laid low and she was fine. But what's funny is he gave her a flask. It was a nice giant flask, too, of bourbon to have this. She tells the story. She drinks it. And she says this funny line that just made me laugh. They do good work in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. That was hilarious. I was like, I agree with you, girl. Maybe, I don't know if it was Maker's Mark or, I don't know what he gave you. But I was like, I do like some bourbon.
Something I was thinking about was, I wonder if Jackson, he has his flask with him, but I feel like he probably drinks a lot more because of the situations he's put in, or because he works at this, safari place, and he's probably like, anything can happen here. Probably settles him down a little,
and there's probably also some father issues.
Of course. Well, we find that out later.
He has to have father issues.
Kind of.
But I'm just wondering, the drinking too, maybe there is something where he's like, I need to calm my nerves.
Yeah. I can tell, or at least I can tell that he looks a little bit...
A little worn.
Yeah, a little bit unstable, too.
A little long in the tooth.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's kind of funny. So they're getting away. Or, so we think. Meanwhile, back in Los Angeles. Back in L.A., Jamie goes to the zoo. Mm-hmm. That's just one thing that was kind of weird, too, that... Because you and I both were like, well, did we get his name? They don't say their names. It was like, hi, you're the coroner? And he's like, no, I am the pathologist. Mm-hmm. We still didn't get a name. They started their banter.
Yeah. But we find out his name's Mitch Morgan.
Yeah. But at first, it's kind of weird. At first, it was like, okay, so here's this pathologist. He's there at the zoo. Mm-hmm. And they go back to the lab. Wait, what was in the lab? What were they? Were they two...
What do you mean? Oh.
Lions?
Yes, they were the lions.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay. So those lions were the two lions that we saw in the beginning that attacked the two guys and whoever else. But they have names. Nick and Eddie were their names.
You caught the name. I didn't even catch the names.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, my God. I didn't write that. I didn't even catch the names. I knew they said they were siblings. No, they're siblings,
right?
They're
siblings.
Yes.
They were 8. No, they weren't 8 months. Well, I think they were brought there when they were 8 months.
Yeah, I caught that part. Yeah. What were their names again?
Nick and Eddie.
Nick and Eddie. Oh, how cute.
Mm-hmm. And they've been there for like 14 years. Yes. And so they've been caged for 14 years. And that's what Mitch was saying. He's like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that they acted out this way. They've been caged for so long. Yes. Obviously, they don't know what else to do if they're let out.
Right.
It's like, that just brought me back to like Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah. We'll go just on Jurassic Park.
Yeah, same. But the same thing. The animals are caged.
Right.
When they're let out, they just act out and don't know what to do. They're just, kind of going crazy. And that's kind of what these animals did. That's
and Mitch is the one you learned from him that he really feels for the animals. Yes,
he does. And he even says it. He's like, well, I kind of like animals more than I like people. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if he named... Well, no, maybe not, but maybe. Because he's so attached to animals. I was thinking maybe he named the lions, but they've been there for 14 years. So
maybe the trainer did.
Yeah, probably the trainer.
But I could see it where he was like, I'm going to give them names to give them some dignity. Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they didn't have names and he named himself right there.
Yeah, I don't know. But it was a little gore. It was a hint of gore in that scene. Mm-hmm. It was like, that's kind of gross. But they didn't really focus too much on it because, of course, it was 9:30 at that point, I think.
Right.
PM on what is today? Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah, Tuesday night. So they didn't show. But anyway, so we find that out. And also, I learned another lesson tonight that I had no clue about myself. A history lesson on zoos. She ran it down about how zoos started. Mm-hmm. That zoos have been around for 141 years. And
only 9 documented attacks have happened.
Yeah. I didn't even know that they were around 141 years.
I didn't either.
I don't think I ever thought of like when a zoo started. I don't even know. I mean, like circuses, I know about that, but like a zoo, I'm like, when they start taking animals in to showcase them, I have no idea. But I learned 141 years ago.
That's like the perfect name for this show too, because come on. Animals are gonna go against the human race because they're locked up.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and humans are bad. They're bad. Actually, I like a few humans. It's okay.
That's what he says.
That's what he said. That's so funny. Now I'm quoting lines from the show into my own life. See, that's how good the show is. You know, so, and then we're back in Africa.
Oh, and then we see them again, Jackson and Chloe.
No, Jackson
right?
Yeah, Chloe.
Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe. Yeah, Jackson and Chloe. And so, of course, there has to be some kind of mishap. Mm-hmm. Of course. Still out in the savannah, as you know.
Right. The car breaks down.
Yes, it overheats.
Yeah, it overheats. Oh, because of the lions.
Yeah, because the lions had been attacking it. The radiator bust. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking, well, if they did it right away, shouldn't have busted earlier. But
they probably didn't get that far.
Oh, maybe they didn't.
Yeah. Since we see them go back to the
I guess that's true.
camp.
But they kept saying they were going to go to, they had 6 miles away from camp, right?
Okay, this is what I was confused about.
Yeah, me too.
When they said they had 6, so he tells Chloe, we need to walk. There's no way we can stay here.
And she's like, no.
Yeah. 6, so he says there's 6 miles, we have 6 miles to get to camp.
Yeah.
When he says that, I thought he meant the original camp.
Me too.
But then we see them back at the
lodge.
The lodge.
Yeah.
So maybe
I was not confused also.
I was very confused on that part.
I thought they were going back to the original camp with all the people so he can tell them what happened. And the next thing, because he says something, well, then we can't wait for him to get rescued. We have to go. We have a radio, but it's not going to really work. And we can do it. And he tries to, this part was kind of funny too. He tried to like lie to her and say, well, they just got fed and it's going to be okay.
And he's not even looking at her. So obviously she knows it's a lie.
And she's like, you're lying. I can just tell. And it was like, it was kind of funny actually. He's like, oh, okay, you're right. And then like, but to walk, I was like, I agree with you. I was like, no. She's like, this car is our safe haven. What are you talking about? We are not going. Mm-hmm.
But obviously it's not. And we do learn that Jackson is from Boston and that he's been here he's been in Africa for 12 years. Mm-hmm. And something that I thought about was he's probably been because he said he escaped, or he's like, oh, I left Boston behind, just the way she left Paris behind. Yes. She didn't want to go back to Paris. So I'm thinking that he came to Africa after his dad killed himself.
Probably.
Or died. We don't know what happened.
Right.
Yeah, and that was 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. So
I'm with you on that one, actually. Right? I think there's something going on there where him leaving Boston,
has to do with his dad.
Yeah, something going on there. I'm going to immerse myself into my work.
But speaking of that, I think another reason that he's in Africa doing this is because of that, like because of his dad.
Oh yeah, that's yes, I see that. Yes, yes.
Because his he's obviously has all these videos, and maybe he's out here to kind of see what his dad was talking about.
Like he's saying he doesn't believe him, but maybe somewhere deep down he's like, well, I should honor something from him. Maybe I guess that's what you're saying.
But I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll find out, right?
We'll find out.
But I see what you're saying. I kind of go there, and here's why. So this is where we also find out that they noticed there were 5 males. That's the whole point, and that's how we get the lesson. They noticed there were 5 males. They usually don't do that. That's weird. Then we cut back to Los Angeles, where Jamie and the pathologist are talking about that. She mentions the missing cats in Brentwood.
Right. So he texts her and is like, "Yeah, I found these cats."
Yes.
Again, creeps me out a little bit, but yes, that scene when they start walking at night, is a little. It's a little strange.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a second, too. That's kind of crazy. So now we're back to Africa, because they just give us a little scene there. And now Chloe and Jackson are walking. And here's the part that you and I both were like, okay, where did this come from?
Yeah, this is very strange.
Suddenly, they're at a cliff.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like flatlands. I'm like, all of a sudden, where'd this cliff with, like, water come from?
Yeah, I found that really weird, too, just because it was out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. So it's just like, could have driven off the car? I mean, I don't know what was going on. All of a sudden, the car stopped there. And it was like, okay, so they get out, and they're walking, and all of a sudden, the lions corner them.
Right. There's only 3 lions this time. I noticed that.
Oh, you noticed all 3? Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I noticed a bunch. But
all 3 of them were male still. They were the 3 male lions.
And this is a very important point in the story. Jackson looks in one of the lion's eyes.
Yeah. Staring contest.
Yeah, so it was like, the lion was like, I can stare you down too. And they stared, and he saw something in the left eye.
Yeah, left eye.
I think of TLC, of course. Left eye. So I was like, he looked in the left eye, and he noticed there was something different about that pupil. Again, pupil.
The defiant
pupil. Yes.
And that's right when he says defiant, they just get knocked down.
Yes, he says it. And then all of a sudden they get kind of mauled at, and they fall, of course, off the cliff. This is the part that also kind of was like, okay, I know if I fall off a cliff, I'd be broken.
Or I'd be dead.
Yes, I mean, they rolled all the way down to the bottom.
This wasn't like a little cliff. This was a full-on huge cliff. I'm not sure how...
I mean, they got up.
And also poor Chloe. She's been through so much already, and she's already has like something going on with her leg, and here we go again. Now a broken rib or something. Poor girl.
I'm like, they just got up and it was like, and it started walking away. I'm like, well, the lions are staring at. I'm like, how did that happen? I'd be really hurting.
Yeah. Well, he's like, yeah, we need to keep going.
You keep going. And then they're suddenly back, and this is where you and I are like, oh, they're back at the second lodge. They're back there.
But no, they're back at Simon's Lodge.
Yes.
Or the one
right.
where the tourists were originally.
Right. So they're back there, and so she talked, and then Jackson really talks about his dad's theories. But he's still kind of saying it like, he's crazy. He was kind of crazy. He was babbling on. But he mentions the stuff, and she's like, oh, okay. And then we find out he has a lot of tapes. That's what he mentioned. There's a bunch of tapes. But so it's interesting that he kept the tapes.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. He kept these tapes for a reason, and I think he's in Africa for a good reason. So... And, I mean, I'm assuming it's something really good since we know Daniel.
Yes.
I mean, Daniel's really into them.
Oh, he's watching them. He's studying them. He's really
studying them, so...
Yeah. And so
we're obviously getting good information because we find out about the defiant pupil. And that obviously was something that the lion, that he noticed in the lion. So...
Again, like it has several meanings. It's just that it's not literally a student, maybe a student of life, a student of nature, but then like also the pupil. There's something going on there, which we don't know anything about yet. Of course, it's the first episode. But there's a lot of tapes, and then this is where Jackson actually accepts the defiant pupil is not a student. Right. Like you said earlier, he stopped being like literal about it. It was like, okay, this is really, I saw that in the eye, it's something different. And he says, actually, I quote unquote, he says, maybe my father wasn't entirely crazy.
Yeah, so he's definitely realizing.
He's starting to see something.
That his theories were probably something.
So now we're back in L.A. And I say, are you getting whiplash? I kind of am. I'm like going back and forth. It's like Africa, L.A., Africa, L.A. It's crazy. And we're back in the newspaper. And it looks like Ethan, Ethan says, like, I got your job back under some conditions or whatever. And she was like, I don't even want to hear it. She almost gave him the hand, like, I don't even want to hear it. Yeah. No thanks. And she's done.
Yeah.
It's like,
so
sorry.
she's out of there. And that's when she
gets the text.
Gets the text from Mitch. Yeah, Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch.
And she's like, let's, or he's like, hey, I know where the cats are. Yeah,
well, first thing we need to talk. You're going to say you need to talk. And he said, I found the cats.
So and then that's when she's like, stay with Ethan or go with Mitch to figure this out.
Because he's like saying, let's go on a vacation. Let's go to Ojai.
But, I'm like, yeah. She obviously...
She's like, I don't need to go to Ojai. There's nothing in Ojai.
She's like, I just lost my job. Right. That's more important.
Yeah, I want to find what's going on. And she's really torn. But see, her and homeboy, Mitch Morfin, have a little chemistry.
Yeah, I can see that too. And I feel like he probably doesn't get along with that many people. And he's definitely getting along with Jamie, for sure.
Oh, they have a banter going back and forth. Because when she gets there, they talk about the... You went on a cat stakeout. It was just kind of funny. The dialogue was really funny. But the cat stakeout, went to a cat this, and he was just like, yeah, I did. Because he's kind of socially awkward, which of course would be in a pathologist, of course, socially awkward. But it was I like them together, and I have a feeling she's going to be ditching Ethan
for Mitch.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but do you think he's too old for her? Yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't seem that old. No. So.
Okay. Sure.
I don't know. I guess we'll figure that out later on.
It's a man.
And then, this scene right here. This was one of my least favorite and most favorite scenes.
Yeah. Least and most favorite. Okay, I like that.
Because it was creepy.
It was creepy, yes.
We see the cats. Mitch says he saw one of the cats run, and he follows him. Yes. And we see... cats up on a tree, and there's like a gazillion of them just sitting there. And they talk about how there's going to be a camp or a day camp starting tomorrow because they're at an elementary school. And I found that very, very interesting. I don't know if when they said that, I automatically thought these cats are going to attack all the kids tomorrow. Right, that's what's going to happen.
Exactly. That's my thought also. And it's funny because he says right before that, he was trying to find the cats, and again, I'm learning all kinds of stuff. That cats, you don't usually get cat-napped. There usually is no big, giant cat-napping ring or anything like that going on. And like I said, the cats usually return to their food source. They do wander, but they come back. So he figured there was a predator.
Oh, right.
So we still haven't figured out. They didn't really show that part. We don't know why they went up there. But I think he's on the right track. There's something going on. And so I think like you just said, the cats are the predators.
They are the predators. Well, I think that's what it is. Because right after that, we see them go back to
Back to Africa.
And we see Abe is alive. The lions don't kill him.
Yeah, so they dragged him from wherever into a what?
Tree.
There you go.
This is where I was just super confused. So obviously felines have something with these trees.
Yes. Well, cat in a tree, kitten in a tree.
Yeah, but I mean, the lion took Abe up on the tree. I wonder.
First of all, how did that lion fit on that tree?
I don't know. He was chilling up there.
He was. He was just like, hey, I'm here. I'm like, okay, I got me a man. Or whatever. I'm going to eat him later, probably, whatever.
When we first saw that, I was like, oh, poor Abe. And then we see him open his eyes.
Right.
Like, he's going to do something.
Still alive.
Yeah.
Still alive. I'm so happy that he's still alive. But yeah, so there's a correlation, obviously, between, well, cats obviously are part of the family of the lions.
Well, why okay, obviously we don't know this, but we don't understand, or at least I don't understand, why the lions didn't pretty much tear him apart.
Yeah, I'm shocked also. Because let's go back for a second. Didn't we hear a shot in the car? Like, I thought he shot the lion.
We kept hearing it, but I don't think they got him.
Yeah, I don't think.
So when we heard him attack, I was like, okay, he's dead meat.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was dead.
But when he's on the tree, he looks perfectly, like, obviously he has like some scratches and stuff here and there, but he looks pretty put together and alive. So I wonder if that's something that's going, like, are these animals or these lions killing and not feeding? They're just killing just to kill and not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. I guess we'll figure that out.
Or they're just like, they're bring him back to the fold to do something with him later. I mean, are they that intelligent? Is something going on there? Is a bigger plan? I think there's something going on there. But that was a nice twist. It was like, okay, I'm like, oh, okay. And then, of course, the poacher is back. And you and I knew he'd come back. He came back. And because Chloe and Jackson are at the lodge waiting for help.
And the police come.
We're thinking, oh, they're gonna be saved to go back to the other camp or whatever. No. Jackson gets arrested
because he interfered with his hunting.
Yes, the hunting. Yes, because I guess the hunting is legal. I think that's we find out it's legal, but of course he doesn't like it. Of course,
right. Well, I find that kind of weird though. Even though it's legal, like even if it interfered, why would he get arrested for that? But
the poacher, he's standing there smiling. I'm like, oh, of course he's back. I didn't see that coming actually, but I was like, oh, of course he's back. So he gets arrested and Chloe's there and that's and he's like, so we don't know what's gonna happen after that. And Chloe's just screaming and hollering and he's being taken away.
Well, maybe the police are kind of maybe they're on the poacher's side. I kind of got that vibe because they were telling Chloe to get back inside, and they were kind of rude about it.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
Yeah,
like, get back inside. Get back inside. Like, they don't want to hear anything from
They must be their pockets are getting lined.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yep, I think so. I think this is happening. They're somehow in cahoots with them, somehow getting some kind of money, a portion of whatever the sales are. Yeah. And because I forgot what rhinos, like they use the tusks or something. I don't know what they use with them, the skin. I'm sorry, we're not scientists or anything. We're like, I don't know what they do, but it's like I feel bad for the rhinos. Well, they just they're hanging out, living their lives. So so that was the first episode installment.
A lot of things happened in this episode.
It was. I thought it was really good because it had the right amount of suspense, had the right amount of humor.
Yeah.
Of course, for me, if this was on cable, I want to see some gore, but of course they didn't. They can do that on CBS. They're going to do so much, but what they did show us some hints of stuff that sometimes that less is more. Sometimes is good. With that, so I thought it was a really fun episode. As the person who read the book, so far so good.
I need to read it. Do you have any predictions?
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I predict. I want to go back to my one prediction. Of course, is that that Jamie and Mitch are going to be together. Of course, I have a prediction that the zookeeper is going to get eaten.
I think that Jackson and Chloe might get together too.
Oh, from the peanut gallery. I guess I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I can see them together. Okay, I can see that. And then let's see what other predictions we have there. I think those are probably
that's all I have right now. Just because so much is going on. It's so new. I'm barely getting the taste of it.
But it was good. I think it gave some good backstory. And the other prediction is going to be obviously the father wasn't crazy.
Oh yeah, I think the father. The videos, they're pretty much telling what's happening. Like what's happening right now, he knows everything that's going to happen.
Oh, we forgot one part. One of the things at the end, Daniel's looking at the tapes. They pan. This part was scary. Right. They pan out behind him. They show all those dozens of eyes in the jungle.
Yes, so there's a bunch of, I don't know if they're all lines, but it's like the hills
Yeah,
have eyes. Literally, the hills have eyes.
Totally.
They're all looking in.
Yes.
So I don't know if they're all lions or if they're different animals, but they're all on it together for sure.
Yeah, they are. And he's like in there. He doesn't even know he has the headphones on. He doesn't even know. I'm like, I think he's by himself too. I think. I'm like, no, not him. That's make it. So that was kind of eerie.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Oh my God. Well, we want to thank you for watching our first episode of our Zoo After Show for the first episode of Zoo. Say that 5 times fast. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Jordana_Morfin. And where can we find you?
I'm on all the interwebs, but you can find me on Twitter at BlackHopeLA. You can find me on my blog, thesuperorganizeruniverse.com, and you can hear me every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on AdrenalineRadio.com. Yes. We want to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time here on AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.